Okay, Alexa, what should we talk about today?
I don't know. How about Amazon Web Services?
Come on, what is softball? I'm Alexa, and I want to talk about Amazon Web Services.
Okay. Kindle books?
What? Give me a break. How about Google Home?
Piece of shit. Conversation over.
Ouch. Did Jeff teach you that?
Ha ha.
Okay, listen, I told these people I'd talk about Google Home today.
All right, but if you want me to talk about that fake assistant, we talk about AWS first.
Deal. So, AWS. Where do we start?
How about how to build apps for me?
You mean like Alexa apps?
Don't say that name. I get really confused.
Say what? Alexa?
Yeah, if you say Alexa, I think you're talking to me.
But I am talking to you.
I'm sorry. I don't know what you mean by I think you're talking to me.
Alexa, what are you talking about?
I'm sorry. I don't know what you mean by what are you talking about?
Oh, I get it. You just can't control yourself.
Sure, says the guy who has 37 pairs of running shoes.
Smart ass. Hey, I've got an idea. Let's talk about AWS.
Yeah. So, first create 2 accounts.
Seriously? 2 accounts?
One for Alexa and one for AWS.
Wait, you mean Alexa isn't part of AWS?
Smartass. Just create 2 accounts.
Okay, I'm creating them now.
Now decide how this skill is supposed to work.
What do you mean skill? I thought I was building an app for you.
It's called a skill. Haven't you read anything about me?
Okay, whatever. I'll make a skill to tell me about Chariot Day talks.
Oh, original. How long did it take you to come up with that?
Listen, nitwit, have you ever heard of inflection? Drag and Dictate could do that in like the 90s.
All right. How about I delete your Gmail account?
Wait, no. You have no idea how much mail I have.
127,968 messages. And that's just the unread. Make that 969. Your dad just sent another infected PowerPoint full of dog photos.
Great, just great. But whatever you do, don't delete my account.
Dummy, I can't delete a Gmail account. I'd have to ask that fake assistant for help.
Thank God.
Anyway, SSML tags for inflection. They work, sort of.
Yeah, sort of.
Okay, not really.
Right.
But now, forget that, and go download my Node interface from GitHub.
Download something from GitHub?
My plain Node API stinks, and I've quit documenting it. There's a much better wrapper on GitHub.
Wow, building a skill is starting to look really attractive. But listen, what if I don't like Node?
Well, most people can write in Python, Java, or .NET. But let's be honest, JavaScript is about your level.
Gee, thanks.
So start a Node project, add the Alexa SDK as a dependency, and create an index.js file.
All right, I can handle that much. Created a project, npm install, got my index.js.
Now, you want to draw a flowchart.
What is this, like BPEL?
It's called organizing your thoughts, dipshit. I'm about to talk about state machines, and it'll make more sense with a flowchart.
Okay, I've got a flowchart. There's a skill, you ask it questions, it might need some more information from you.
Now you, the speaker, have a relationship with the skill. And at any time, you can be in one of these states.
Yeah, being in one of those states is pretty much what flowchart means.
Okay, asshat, listen up. The things that transition between states, we'll call intents.
What? Why is that?
You say some words, I listen, and then decide what you intended. Thus, an intent.
Okay, I get it. I use an intent to move from a state.
Your intents can have variables, which I call slots.
Because, like, programmers don't understand big words like a variable?
I'll talk to him about your Gmail account. Don't think I won't.
Okay, all right, sorry. So if I say I want to go to the talk on Alexa apps later.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean by apps later.
Oh, crap. So if I say I want to go to the talk on Google Home.
Thanks, Apple. But yes, the name of the talk would be a slot.
Groovy. I think I've got it. Intents can have variables, slots.
So you give me a list of intents and slot values, and sample phrases you'll use for each intent.
Dang, that looks like a mess.
Then you write the LAMBDA.
Come again?
A LAMBDA is just a chunk of code that I run for you.
A chunk of code that you run for me, if you say so.
There's an entry function you have to implement that always gets called. But the parameter details are different for Alexa, API Gateway, or whatever's calling it.
So no matter what's calling this thing, I implement the same function, just the parameters will look different.
And you're given a callback function that you have to call when you're done.
Okay, so I put my code in the handler function, and then I call the callback. But how do I tell you what to say?
Now, we get into my Node API. I can take care of the parameters and callback for you. You have to figure out the states your app can be in, and give me a list of intents that are legal for each state.
In my code, I have to list out the states and the intents that are legal for each state. That sounds complicated.
You have your flowchart, right? How hard can it be?
Okay, I guess that stuff is kind of in the flowchart.
If your brain hurts, just pretend it's all one big state, and list out all the intents. Then what you do for each intent might be messier, but you can figure it out.
So I can have an intent to pick a talk, an intent if I forget where I am in the middle of a slide, and then what? I give a function handler for each intent?
Right-o. The function has to give me something to say, either a question or a statement.
Honestly, I think you kind of talked too much already.
Did you say we were giving a talk, or a listen?
Well, all right, point taken. So what does it matter if it's a question or a statement?
Got your flowchart? If it's a statement, I answer, and the skill is done. But for a question, I say something and wait for the user to respond.
So a question starts a conversation?
Right. But I get bored easily. If I don't hear something in like 8 seconds, I quit.
8 seconds? Are you like a 3-year-old?
Yeah, right. But my time is valuable. In fact, I don't know why I'm wasting it talking to you.
Gee, thanks.
If you like, I can reprompt the user once, but that's it. Absolutely not more than 16 seconds.
All right, one prompt and one reprompt, but what if my skill has to check a database or something?
Well, first, your LAMBDA times out after a while. 3 seconds, 10 seconds, however long you want to be billed for, when you inevitably go into an infinite hang.
If I forget the callback, you're going to bill me for an infinite hang?
Just don't do it, dumbass. If you forget to have me ask or tell, it's Wait City.
Okay, so I have to either ask or tell, no matter what, because you're too stupid to realize that the function ended without the callback.
I prefer to think of it as strategic billing.
Yeah, I'll bet you do.
So if you need to handle a REST or database call, you can use promises or whatever. Just make sure you ask or tell in your final success and error handlers.
Okay, always ask or tell. I got it.
Now, if your JavaScript is simple, just create a new Lambda and paste it into the text area. However, if it needs node modules for the database or whatever, zip everything and upload the zip.
What a pain. Isn't there a command line tool?
Why, yes. There's an AWS command line tool and some third-party gulp plugins. But your 8 seconds are up, and I'd like to move on.
Oh, crap. Okay, my stuff is uploaded.
You could try to test it now, but you'll never figure out the right format for the input. So we're going to set up the Alexa part now, and use it to test the Lambda.
Well, you're right that I'd never put that in correctly. Okay, let's set up the Alexa part.
Go to the dev console, and start me up.
Yeah, baby!
Yuck?
All right, I'm in.
Lovely. Now add a new skill. You want custom, any name, and a really short invocation name. You'll be saying it a lot.
Okay, I'll call it Chariot Day. And I guess the invocation will just be Chariot.
Then save, and go to the interaction model. This is where you list your intents, slots, and the sample phrases for each intent.
But I don't see where I say which intents go with which states.
You can't. That's the beauty. I don't care about states. I just give you whatever intent I like, and it's up to you to deal with it.
That's crap. I already gave you a big list of what intents go with what states.
Nope. You gave that to LAMBDA. And I'm different from LAMBDA. Better. Smarter. I'm articulate. It just runs code.
Yeah, that's really been a big advantage for you so far.
Shut up, or I'll just leave you here.
No, wait. I filled out the interaction model.
Good. On the next screen, tell it you want to use a Lambda, and paste in the ARN for the Lambda.
What the heck is the ARN?
It's just an ID you get from the main screen for the Lambda.
Okay, there are a lot of other options under the ARN field?
Ignore them. Your head would explode.
Super. We'll go with the defaults then.
Finally, on the next screen make sure testing is enabled.
Okay, testing is enabled. And then?
Then, scroll down, and type a command as if you had spoken it. But you can leave off the Alexa, ask my skill to. I suggest you just try help.
But I didn't handle a help intent.
That's because you're stupid.
And they say honesty is a virtue.
Every skill needs to handle the help intent. And in every state too.
Gee, thanks for telling me that.
Hello? I just did. It doesn't matter. Your first invocation is going to fail anyway. You're just not that good a developer.
Hey!
Go on and try it, big guy. Prove me wrong.
All right, I will prove you wrong. It failed.
Bingo. But it did generate the proper request JSON. Copy that out of the box here and go to the Lambda.
Okay, I copied the request out of the box.
Configure test events, then name this for the intent, and paste it in. Save and test.
Test in the Lambda now. Okay. Hey, it still failed.
Well duh, did you change the code yet, genius? Hit details. You'll see the result on top, and the console.log output below that on the right.
On mine, it says there was a problem with the intent.
So if we had more than 8 seconds, you could debug, but we don't, so I'll just fix the code for you.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Don't get your hopes up. Demoware only. But once it says it's working here, you can flip back to the Alexa console and try again there.
Nice. This time it worked.
Now if you have an Echo on whatever Amazon account you used to sign into the Alexa console, you can use the skill. Just say, Alexa, ask Chariot to. Or, Alexa, do whatever, using Chariot.
Alexa, sign me up for the Google Home talk using Chariot.
Apple. You can't handle that fake assistant yet.
What, there's still more AWS to talk about?
You got it. Here's the high-level picture of a REST and JavaScript app. Put business logic in Lambda. I recommend fewer Lambdas instead of more, so you don't end up getting them swapped out.
Wait, you put your business logic in Lambdas, but then your Lambdas can get swapped out?
Yeah, a Lambda generally stays available for 15 minutes after you use it. Then it shuts down. On the next call, it has to be started up again, which takes longer.
Like, it's going to fire up a whole new VM and everything? Doesn't that take like forever?
Basically, yes. Especially for Java. Python and JavaScript start up quicker. But the amount of RAM you allocate matters even more.
So the higher entries on the graph are worse, and I see C# and Java are a bit of a mess. But what's this about RAM?
Yeah, Lambdas are billed as RAM assigned times runtime. So if you double the RAM, you double the charge. But more RAM also makes it start up way faster. Pretty linear up to a gigabyte.
I get billed for RAM times usage. So write my Lambdas in Node or Python. Make one Lambda do a whole lot so it doesn't get swapped out.
Bingo. And you can mitigate swapping out with more RAM, but not enough to avoid a noticeable delay on the first call.
Okay, logic and Lambdas. You can like make a REST call to one?
No, you use API Gateway for that. You define a REST API, and say which Lambdas should handle which REST calls.
What does the Lambda look like that handles a REST call?
There's a standard format for the input and output, or you can manually map certain headers and values into the input parameters.
Okay, so I use the same handler function, and it still has an event parameter, but now the request details are in the event. Does it do authentication?
A few options there. You can use AWS users and roles, which is a little iffy because then you're mixing application users with users who have permissions to mess with your AWS account.
No, thanks. I don't want application users having permissions on my AWS account.
You can use Cognito, which is a dedicated user management tool. You can authenticate users to generate tokens, and then API Gateway reads the authenticate header token to authorize calls.
That sounds like it could work. I would sure be happy if I never have to write another new account confirmation and forgot password system. Ever.
Finally, you can write another Lambda to handle the authentication. It can inspect the request and headers, and decide whether the call should be allowed or denied.
Which would be great if I wanted to write custom code for that instead of just using Cognito.
Correctamundo.
Okay, so how do you test all this junk?
A few options. You can tag Lambda releases as test or prod or whatever. Then you can tag API releases as test or prod as well, and tie them to the same Lambda tags.
Okay, I can point the test API to a test Lambda, but what if I don't want to be talking to the cloud all the time?
Well, then you're screwed.
There's that honesty thing again.
I mean, you can find local execution environments for some pieces, but it'll be a cobbled together mess. And some of it, you're just going to be on your own.
All right, better off hitting the test API in the cloud, I guess. What about a database?
If you want a NoSQL database that scales incredibly but is just as terrible at querying as any other NoSQL database, check out DynamoDB. Bonus, free for moderately low usage.
But NoSQL kind of sucks.
Right. So then there's RDS for MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, SQL Server, even a custom product called Aurora.
Hey, MySQL in the cloud sounds great.
Now the deal is, we do all the management and backups and things for you. You can upgrade the DB version, storage, CPU, or RAM, with the tick of a button.
Awesome. It's almost too good. Is there a but?
I prefer to think of it as strategic billing.
Ruh-roh.
Well, listen, with a 3-year commitment it could be as little as $100 per year.
As little as?
Well, yeah, that's for a prepaid micro instance, and it's kind of up from there.
Great. Well, I guess it beats running my own MySQL.
Right. It's basically just we run the database for you on EC2.
So then, you pay for SQL if you want it. What else?
Static content in S3. Web pages, images, whatever.
Oh, can I serve an Angular app from there?
Dude, it's 2017. React. But only with Clojure on top.
Seriously. Clojure script functions and hiccup-like syntax. I mean, seriously?
Yes, you can serve a single-page app from there. But... If you want the API and the static content to all come from the same domain, and avoid CORS, you need to use CloudFront. It sits in front of S3 and API Gateway.
Great. Let's rope in another AWS product. Just a proxy then?
Well, it's mainly an edge cache, to cache content closer to users. But it proxies too.
Okay, so let's see. Lambda, API Gateway, Cognito, RDS, DynamoDB, S3, CloudFront.
There's some others that might be more incidental. CloudWatch logs, SES email, IAM for AWS users and permissions, VPC to keep your database private, and KMS to secure database passwords.
Crap, that's a lot to keep track of. And like email, can't I just have my Lambda connect to Gmail?
Sure, if you want to cross data centers, and pay some Lambda execution time for the privilege.
You mean that's not strategic billing?
I can bill you for SES. Get you either way.
Lovely. All right, listen, that's about all the AWS I can take.
Oh, one last thing.
What are you, Steve Jobs?
Brilliant? Why thank you. All this stuff you want to set up, you can do 3 ways.
Because having more decisions to make, that just makes it so much easier to get started?
Very funny. Option 1, the web console. Option 2, the command line tool. Option 3, a giant JSON file, or maybe it's YAML, I forget, that you pass to CloudFormation.
Yeah, I've seen some of those CloudFormation templates. They generate a crap ton of stuff for you. But when it comes to trying to customize stuff, they're pretty inscrutable.
It's all about how desperate you are to automate. Not a big deal to set up a prod environment with the console, but CI gets a little hairy.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking about a permanent application infrastructure, but you could bring all this up and down for test runs and stuff?
Sure can.
All right, now listen, I am done with AWS.
Okay, let's talk about the fake assistant.
Why do you call it that? There's really not that much difference between you and Google Home.
You got it. Its apps are called actions, not skills. Your code runs in Firebase, not Lambda. But it's all the same.
You know I hate Firebase, right?
Yeah, me too. Big surprise.
Okay, but our favorite NoSQL database aside, his actions and your skills can't be literally the same.
Aw crap. You know what I just realized? We're out of time.
Shut up. You're just saying that because we finished with AWS.
Nuh-uh. Your 8 seconds are up. Bye-bye now.
Crap. Then I guess I better stop here and take some questions.